it wasn't a matter of want to move. I would prefer not to have had to move. And it wasn't a matter of have to move because of finances, health, anything like that. Well, let me take back health. It sort of is a matter of health. And I don't mean health like my diagnosis. Borderline. They sent me this form to fill out. I filled it out. All that stuff should be on there. Didn't you see that? Did you not look at it? Why would you start to talk to me without having, okay, I had to move. Well, it's because of the pandemic. Yeah. And I was thinking about getting the roof fixed because it had to be patched several times in the last 5 to 6 years. But anyway, that never happened because I sold the house because I couldn't live in that house after the pandemic. Oh, no. That's not my diagnosis. I'm not a healthophobe, a germaphobe, a microphobe. No. I like being alone, and I mean really alone. Alone. And then the pandemic happens. And I'm not sure. I thought about it, but I've never talked about it. So I know how I feel about it, but I don't know if I can quite put it into words. During lockdown, when we were all supposed to stay at home, stay covered up, masked, segregated from each other, we had to think about each other all the time. We had to think about the rest of the human race all the time. Think about it. I didn't live in an apartment building, but I used to think about how awful it must be to live in an apartment building during a pandemic when, the virus is viable for about 15 to 20 minutes after somebody with COVID sneezes in the hallway. So if you lived in an apartment building, you would have to pay attention before you went outside to make sure that somebody hadn't been sneezing in the hallway in the last 15 or 20 minutes. You'd have to wait for the virus to die in the hallway. So even if you lived alone, it's like the rest of the world was in your house during the pandemic because you had to think about the rest of humanity and the rest of the world. I needed to move someplace where the rest of the world hadn't been living with me.